Dr. Webster. Oh, let's unmute you. There you go.
Okay.
Sir, there you go.
Got it. Okay. I'm Terry Webster. I'm the Dean of the School of Human Development, and I want to welcome all of you to the Human Development Fieldwork Showcase. We are so excited to highlight the work of our bachelor and master's students. Field placement is common among programs in the social sciences and provides opportunities for students for exploration and skill development. Dr. Elephant, I want to thank you, our fieldwork coordinator, for all of your efforts to support students through placement with our nonprofit community partners. And I also want to thank the HD team, our core and adjunct faculty who bring our rich curriculum to life in the classroom, even virtual classrooms. And now I will turn the program back over to you, Dr. Elephant.
Awesome. Thank you so much. All right, so we have a pretty packed agenda. The bulk of it is going to be this showcase, but I just wanted to sort of share, introduce again some of the key student learning objectives of field work. I'll have time for questions at the end. So please save your questions. I'm doing my best to monitor chat while having this going, but I'm going to dive right in because I really want to get to the student showcase part. So I just sort of want to remind folks that the key importance and goals of fieldwork. So they are split out into BA and MA student learning objectives. So I have them in that order, but really all of them are critical components for all fieldwork aspects for undergraduate and graduate students. Obviously, this is to enhance skills and leadership capacity, explore career choices, students learn problem solving, professional development, working with different situations. They're able to observe, reflect, and analyze their own work and the work of others. Some of the key program focus areas are program administration, community, family, or social service settings, education, social change, and research. And you'll see all of that demonstrated tonight. Some of the more key attributes of fieldwork. Students are going to be using theoretical framework that they're learning in all of their courses at Pacific Oaks. They're able to observe their own practice, the impact of their actions within the community and within other people. They're going to be assessing workplace conflicts and gaps, critically examining emergent issues in their field of setting, and they're going to be able to demonstrate their growth in class indicated by improvement in observational writing and critical thinking skills. And a lot of them are required to keep journals every single week. They participate in observational hours and they'll be writing papers on their observations. And these are more some of the focused graduate level student learning objectives, although some of the undergraduates definitely display some of these, but this just goes a little bit more in depth with a little bit more critical components that we like our graduate students to showcase in the work that they do with fieldwork. So they're also applying theoretical frameworks. They're also examining their own practice and the impact of their actions through journal entries, discussions, self-evaluations. They're also looking at workplace conflicts and gaps and best practice. And they're also doing even further levels of demonstrating skillful application by critically examining emergent issues. And then they're also doing more analysis on growth where that's also indicated by the improvement through their writing skills, oral communication skills, and just problem solving with other students, their colleagues, and their workplace. Some of the best real world experience happens here in fieldwork. So all of this is in super detail in the memorandums of understanding that a lot of our host sites will be receiving as we move forward with fieldwork. We also have these student learning objectives throughout all of our courses. So if anyone wants more detail on these, you can absolutely reach out to me. Okay, the best part of tonight is the student showcase. So we will get ready and dive right into that. I am going to look for Vicki and Diana and get you guys on here spotlighted. Oh, if this would let me go. And Vicki, I know I just saw you on the Zoom thing. Wave your hand for me.
I'm here.
Okay, perfect. And where's Diana? Wave your hand.
Here.
Okay, thank you. This has got to love Zoom, right? Okay, let me spotlight you. And I don't know if our version at Pacific Oaks allows you to do dual spotlighting. So let me know. Go ahead and start, Vicky, and I'll get Diana up on the screen too.
Actually, Diana's starting.
Oh, okay.
That's okay.
Sorry.
So good evening, everyone. My name is Diana Lucero. I am a graduate student here at Pacific Oaks. I'm pursuing my master's degree in human development with an emphasis in educational leadership and human services. I currently work as a continuous quality improvement analyst in the Head Start division for the Child Care Resource Center. I chose to complete my fieldwork in another division within the agency that I work with because my goal was to learn about the services that the agency provides to our community. I also wanted an opportunity to network during these virtual times with other leadership departments for professional development opportunities.
So, hello, my name is Vicky Ledesma. I'm also currently employed with the Child Care Resource Center as a continuous improvement analyst in the areas of education and inclusion for our Head Start program. I am currently also enrolled in the Human Development, Leadership and Education and Human Services program. That's a mouthful. I chose the Child Care Resource Center as my fieldwork site because this agency has given me many opportunities to advance within my career. As I reflected on leadership skills that I admire and I strive to achieve, I instantly thought of Eileen Pierce. Eileen is a Pacific Oaks alumni, and I knew that she would be a great resource to guide me through this process. To give you a little overview of the Child Care Resource Center, the Child Care Resource Center is a nonprofit organization that serves the San Fernando Valley, Antelope Valley, and San Bernardino County. CCRC offers family child care providers, Head Start sites, and family different types of support and and they facilitate lots of different programs and workshops for the community.
And we completed our fieldwork within the Family Wellbeing Division. The Family Wellbeing Division employs home visitors that work directly with the families in the program. They focus on the parents being the lifelong teacher of the child, and they provide the parents the tools to support their child's development. I'm thankful to our fieldwork supervisor who's here today, Eileen Pierce, for providing us the opportunity to build a training from the ground up and trusting our expertise in facilitating a successful training. Her ability to use reflective questions throughout the process of brainstorming, planning, project design, and execution really made Vicky and I feel like the project was ours. We had full ownership. The final result was a project that met the requirements that the agency needed for professional development hours for their staff, but as well as meeting our interest and our area of expertise or area of interest within our study.
I also wanted to thank Eileen for her dedication and support throughout this process. The way she used open-ended questions to expand the opportunities to learn new things about myself was priceless. She encouraged me to step out of my comfort zone, and I feel that she made this experience one that prepared me for the thesis process.
So my focus in the training was the first half. It was to provide information for staff on compassion fatigue. So they're the ones that work directly with families. They are the first point of contact between families and the agency. So oftentimes they hear the hardships of families firsthand. And so the training portion that I designed alongside Vicky consisted of identifying red flags in mental health. We provided compassion prevention techniques. We provided information on mental health resources available to them. And there was a group interactive activity on stress management that served as a resource for a later activity for developing their own personal self-care action plans.
My piece of the training was to provide home visitors tools and resources when working with families experiencing grief. I included information on the different types of grief, resources for adults and children. The resources included various types of support groups that included grief share groups, grief blogs, social media sites, therapy options, and books that can be shared with families. I also use Padlet dashboards to encourage participation anonymously, since this is a sensitive topic. What I learned throughout this process was that stepping out of my comfort zone is important in order to gain the skills and knowledge I need in order to grow in my career and support my community.
I learned about the structure of the Family Wellbeing Division, which was one of my goals, and how the resources we provided in the end supported the staff working with the most vulnerable families through their most difficult times. Through our pre and post surveys, I learned that the staff in today's world crave interactive trainings with resources and tools that are relevant to their work. Their feedback at the end demonstrated that during these times, there's a more universal need for mental health resources in our communities, and that the training we provided for them really supported their work with the families in our program. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Nicely done, you two. I am so proud of you guys. If everyone's on mute, but I know we're just like all so proud of you. That's so cool. Eileen, thank you for hosting them and being such an awesome leader and mentor to the two of them. I know their course instructors super proud. You guys really represented POC. That was awesome. All right. We'll hold questions till the end. So I'm going to move on to our next one. If it'll load. Okay. All right. Margie. And Margie, I think you want me to just dive right into playing your video, right?
Yes, that would be
Okay.
great. Thank you, Dr. Sharon.
Okay.
Welcome to Project Giving Kids Give Back Hour.
At Creative Visions, we work really hard to help kids, especially, use art.
Dr. Sharon, it's not, the video's not showing.
Oh, it's not showing the video again? Okay. Hold on a second. Okay. Is it there, Margie?
Yes.
Okay.
Welcome to Project Giving Kids Give Back Hour.
At Creative Visions, we work really hard to help kids, especially, use art to draw attention to the issues that they care most about. And today we're obviously going to focus on firefighters.
As you can see, the first picture there of me, that's a typical day at work.
We want you to really express yourself however you want.
1, 2, 3. If you could hold up your work.
Thank you so much for sharing that, Dr. Sharon. And thanks so much to Liana, who created that video. I believe she's one of your interns. That was great. That video was made and shown at an elementary school where I am actually an employee. My name is Margie Mintz, by the way, and I am getting my master's in human development with an emphasis in educational leadership and human resources at Pacific Oaks College. And I am a classroom aide at an elementary school, the one that I was just mentioning, and I am also the parent ed coordinator there. And this term, I was very lucky. I was placed with Project Giving Kids. Just in case, I know there's a lot of people on this call, but if Kristen O'Leary-Jones, Molly Yuska, Leslie Zales, of course, Dr. Sharon, everyone I worked with over there, I just really want to say thank you, because it was an incredible opportunity. I really was able to grow so much this term. I got to learn so much about nonprofits, especially community service organizations. And if you're not familiar with Project Giving Kids, they help match families with service opportunities and youth, from young kids, elementary up through high school. They have a youth advisory council, and they just have a lot of resources. So my project was to bring a tier-based model of Project Giving Kids to schools. because right now they have all of these wonderful programs. They have the Give Back Hour, which they do twice a month, currently on Zoom, but I could certainly see that going in person when things get a little safer out there. And the Create the Change Day, which they've been doing for years. They have curriculum that they've shared with schools. So this opportunity to create almost like an assembly-like model for schools, I think is really valuable, and it's something schools are looking for. So it's taking kind of what Project Giving Kids, some of the best things about it that separate it from other service opportunities, and bringing it to schools so that it's almost like the students aren't just connecting with their community, but they're connecting as a school community in order to contribute to their communities. So what we did is we brought in a retired firefighter who happened to be Dr. Sharon's dad, Pa Elephant, and he was amazing. It was really I can't even believe it was a week ago today was this event. And it was making gratitude cards for firefighters. And he came on and he told them a little bit about Smokey Bear, and he let them answer questions, and he told his story. And the kids were so engaged. And this was part of a community service week that Carpenter Elementary, where I work, this happens every year. This is the first year it's happened virtually. And it's always really successful, and lots of kids engage. But it was so notable because we didn't promote the event any differently. We obviously highlighted that we would have a real firefighter answering questions. Also that we were partnering with this great organization that's a nonprofit that Project Giving Kids works with, called Creative Visions, to create the artwork. But really, it was the same promotion as every day, but we had twice the number of students show up on that day. We had over 60 kids, and they were completely engaged the whole time. And I have to say, this is my second day back at LAUSD in-person learning, and kids have been coming up to me and saying, I saw you on the firefighter Zoom. I saw you on the firefighter Zoom. So it certainly made an impact to them. It was a really meaningful day. And then I also got to see it happen again just an hour later with the traditional Project Giving Kids Give Back Hour. So what we did is we took the existing planned framework and brought it to this elementary school. And I just really see so much potential for a school-based model. Even the people at the school who are the chairs of the Positive Behavior Committee, who put together the Community Service Week each year, they're interested in doing a Create the Change Day. They are interested in more of this because Project Giving Kids just does it so well. So I felt like it was very successful, and I just really enjoyed working with the whole team. I'm excited that they are interested in bringing me on to their advisory board so that I can continue to work with them in the future. And it's really nice, even though the term is only almost over, but I can already reflect on how far I've come in just a few months. The first meeting that I had with some of the partners of PGK, I mostly just wanted to shadow and let Leslie Zales lead the call, and I would just kind of listen and learn. And by the end of this term, I was having meetings all by myself. I felt like I could be a strong, positive representative of this organization, and that I could ask the questions I needed to help build the piece that I'm trying to build, but also, make a strong connection and relationship on behalf of PGK. So I'm just very grateful for this fieldwork opportunity. I wasn't really sure what to expect, but I feel very lucky to have been placed here. And also thank you to Dr. Edwards. It's been really nice to have your support as well this term. So that's just a little bit about my project, and it was really a joy to take part in this field work this term. So thank you so much.
We're so thankful that we had the opportunity to work with you, Margie. You killed it. You really did a great job. All right, Leonara, you are up next. Let me spotlight you. All right, welcome to Fieldwork Showcase. All right, go ahead.
Okay. Hi, everyone. My name is Leonora Hardy. I am a graduate student in the MA program for Human Development with a concentration in early childhood education at Pacific Oaks College. I am also an assistant teacher at an early childhood care center. Let me tell you a little bit about my fieldwork site. So I interned at Project Giving Kids. Margie gave a good enough background on it, but I'll say what it was for me. So PGK was basically a one-stop shop that connected children from 5 to 18 years old with different partner nonprofit organizations around the US, mainly in California and Massachusetts. So we have some from California, you have LA, the San Francisco Bay Area, and then other areas in California. So yeah, and they have different, sorry, I'm so nervous. Oh my goodness. Different areas that these children can do community service opportunities, such as sorry, I'm so nervous. Aid the sick and comfort them, support our planet, support our veterans, and help other children. And they also help through these opportunities, they also help build empathy. So children are able to give back to their communities and help other people no matter what age they are. So I would like to, with all that, I like to thank everyone at PGK, but especially Dr. Sharon Elephant. She was an amazing mentor, supervisor, and she is someone I consider now a friend and a lifelong mentor once this is all over. So I'm kind of sad that it's ending, but I learned so much under her leadership. So for me, my main responsibility was out researching nonprofits within different areas, but mainly in Los Angeles and the San Francisco Bay Area, and then reaching out to them. So I reached out within these 6.5 weeks, I reached out to almost 50 different nonprofit organizations, and Dr. Sharon and I met with at least like 10 of them to, persuade them to partner and give children more opportunities to give back to their communities in any way they could, whether it was through donating items that they bought or items that they made during a give back hour every twice a month. So it depends on whatever the theme was for that give back hour. That's what the children were creating, and they could donate it to the partnering organization. So there's that. There's so much. I did so much. What else?
You really did.
I'm just like all over the place. I think it's just a lot. For me, when I went into the internship, I was nervous, like I am now. I am very shy and like being behind the scenes. So with interning with Dr. Sharon and PGK, it took me outside of that comfort zone to say, okay, now you're in the forefront. This is your responsibility. This is your job. You have to put yourself out there. So when Dr. Sharon, what she shared with me was basically, you have to sell yourself and sell our organization. And that's what my main goal was. So there were times when I outreached to different nonprofits, I couldn't email them. And I remember my first phone call I had to do, and I was so nervous, but by the time I did my third one, I was ready. And I convinced that nonprofit for me to email them additional information, and then they later responded to us. So I am proud in that sense, but it took me out of my comfort zone. I'm very happy with how everything turned out. What else? So much, there are so many things. Let's see. I participated a couple give back hours. One of them was making DIY pillows for the elderly, and we made them out of t-shirts, and I used cotton balls for the stuffing and made them up, and I donated it. I also attended another give back hour where we had to do caring cards, elderly. Sorry, one. Yes, for done that. And that was fun. I enjoyed both those give back hours because it took me back to being a kid again. With working and being in school, there's so much seriousness to it and not enough relaxed time. So for those give back hours, I literally just stepped outside of myself and was like, I'm giving back to a community the best I can. And it was fun for me. Sorry, there's Kristen. What else was there? I did, as Dr. Sharon mentioned, I did keep a journal. So I have a thick journal full of all my notes, all of the nonprofits I outreach to, my reflections, my hours, everything. I took notes with Dr. Sharon. Me and her communicated daily on what I was doing. I gave her an A to Z list and she's like, okay, go for it. She had told me I was basically doing her position at PGK, which was outreaching and relationships with new nonprofits that we wanted to have them partner with Project Giving Kids. And it was so much fun for me because I got to learn the outreaching skills. I've never done outreaching in my life. It was something new to me, but I was like, let's go for it. And now I feel confident as an educator and as someone that can advocate for youth and reach out to other nonprofits if I, when that time comes. So I'm very happy in that sense of that skill set to take with me after this is all over. As I mentioned personally, it took me outside of my comfort zone. So that was a good impact for me. I wanted to do something different, but also find ways that would help me as an educator to adapt to the children I worked with, because the children I work with are infant, toddlers, and preschool. So a lot of the activities or nonprofits, I always questioned what I adapt their activities or their volunteer services to meet the needs in younger children. So I was thinking outside of that box of how to also expand PGK for a younger age group in the future. So again, I want to say thank you to PGK for allowing Pacific Oaks students to do their fieldwork internship at Project Giving Kids and Pacific Oaks themselves. And thank you so much, Dr. Sharon. I so appreciate you. I'm going to miss you when all this is over. I don't want it to end, but I know it has to. So thank you, everyone. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Leonora. And it was an honor to work with you. She didn't give herself enough credit, you guys. She probably reached out to a good, maybe close to 100 nonprofits. We're probably onboarding about 25% of those nonprofits to PGK's network to just keep building opportunities for youth to really be engaged more in the community. So Leonora, thank you. You killed it. All right, Miss Asia, I know you are on here somewhere, so let me spotlight you. All right. Hi, Asia.
Hi, how are you?
Good. Okay. Floor is yours.
Yes. Hello, everyone. I'm so excited to join you this evening to discuss my fieldwork opportunity. Thank you so much for inviting me to share. My name is Asia Adebo. I am currently in my last semester at Pacific Oaks College, receiving my degree in advocacy and social justice. And my fieldwork position was with the company, the Compton Pledge, which is not a company per se, but it's actually an initiative. The Compton Pledge is currently working with the city of Compton, working with the Funds for Guaranteed Income to provide unconditional guaranteed basic income payments to 800 Compton residents over the course of 2 years. And this is an exciting program. It's actually one of the largest, if not the largest, pilot programs in the country when we're looking at guaranteed basic income. And just to give you a quick overview of what that is, guaranteed basic income is really addressing economic inequality and giving people a floor, so to say, to equal the playing field. One of the issues, I think, with implementing guaranteed basic income programs or even policies around our country is the fact that people do not like giving people money. They feel like there should be some type of work that goes along with it, that it will make people lazy, that people will take advantage of it, and that it would be a waste of resources, and that people should primarily go to work for themselves. So with the pilot programs that you're now starting to see, right? Los Angeles actually is launching a pilot program. These programs actually study the benefits of guaranteed basic income. And just to give you a quick background, in Stockton, California, which was actually the country's first program, there were findings that participants actually doubled full-time employment. They primarily used the payments for cash, for groceries, bills, and primarily things, basic living essentials. So back to the Compton Pledge, where I come in, very excited to be a part of the team. And my project at the Compton Pledge was to be over the storytelling project. The storytelling project really is gathering out of that 800, out of the 800 participants, a certain amount of people who did not mind sharing their story. What this taught me is that the power of storytelling is just remarkable, especially when it comes to influencing and educating people within our communities and in our world. And so what I did and worked with the people who were over the Compton Pledge, worked with 3 lovely individuals. We actually sat together and we came up with a proposal. What questions needed to be asked from these participants? How do we want to go about doing this and implementing it? And so there was a survey that was created. So we created a survey. And so then we had to send out that survey and follow up with that survey. After we sent out the surveys and we had people signing up to say, hey, you know what? I want to use my voice. I want to show people the benefits of what this income is in my life. So I had an opportunity to speak with many of the residents who were actually receiving payments, hearing amazing stories. I've heard stories from, wow, this was the exact amount of money that I needed to pay a bill each month. Or the first thing I did, I was able to go get my prescription medicine. One person explained that they wanted to use the money to invest in a business. They didn't know how they were going to make it. And this came right on time. Oh, I was able to pay my water bill or my cable bill. And people were just finding themselves. I spoke with one parent who stated that she woke up in the middle of the night because she was so stressed and had so much anxiety because she was worried about how she was going to feed her children and keep a roof over their head. This payment reduced her anxiety and stress, allowed her to get some breathing room as to how she could continue and work and provide for her children. A lot of the participants do work and they want better for themselves. And so I learned a lot about people, learned a lot about the spirit of Compton. I've actually had the opportunity of working in Compton prior to this fieldwork experience. And so I was very excited to see how they pulled in different community partners and were very intentional about setting up and working with the mayor, making sure that this program was implemented in integrity. And so with my giftings and how I feel like I fit in, not to say that, I'm just, this big light shining bright, which, I just feel that it was a great fit for me because I love people. And I had the opportunity to really connect with people and to really get an opportunity to inspire them and encourage them to tell their story so they can really combat the stereotypes that are really out about people who do receive income for free. That when you tell your story, you're shedding a light on people who have real need and have real issues, that you're not running out and utilizing this money and wasting it. You're utilizing this money because you want a better quality of life for yourself and for your children. So I had a very great opportunity to learn about guaranteed basic income. I'm very excited to see that we have a lot of programs on the horizon. I'm glad to know that I look at the news and I see a lot of the people who I spoke with and brought them into the Voices of Compton Project. They're doing news stories with ABC. I see them on Spectrum News. They are being media trained. They are being presented out and getting their stories out into the world. And so it was a great opportunity for me. And I'm grateful that I was a part of it. And I really did enjoy myself.
Thank you, Asia. You know, it's funny because I hear these stories every day and I talk to the students all the time and I know the field work that they're doing and I still get blown away by the impact that each of you are having on the community and the service area we're covering. I mean, all the way from Southern California, all the way up through the Bay. Asia, I'm really proud of you. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, Mr. Christian, as soon as I can find you, I will spotlight you. Okay, there you are. All right, the floor is yours, sir.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Christian Velez. I am currently in the process of acquiring my Master's of Arts degree from PO. More specifically, I'm enrolled in the Human Development Program with an emphasis in leadership and education and human services. And this semester, I had the opportunity to really develop and build many skill sets by joining the nonprofit organization, which is Engage the Vision. Engage the Vision is a nonprofit organization whose mission is to build strong, effective, self-sufficient, and safe communities for everyone. Their vision really began with the idea of a mentorship program that could and essentially would help young boys transcend the negative influences of growing up in low-income minority neighborhoods. But before I go into my actual fieldwork and project, I do want to do a few shout outs, a few acknowledgements. I would like to thank my professor, Dr. Edwards. I've had the pleasure of being in her class, not just this semester, but in the prior semester as well. And she's been nothing short of wonderful. She is very insightful and has been extremely understanding and supportive of not only myself, but my classmates as well. Aside from all of that, she was actually the one who also introduced me into Engage the Vision and encouraged me to really intern with them in their mentorship program. Second, you wouldn't know this, but 3 of the presenters that went already before me are my classmates. Aside from them, I need to say thank you to them and the rest of my classmates because this entire time that we've been together, they've really been a source of inspiration for me. In this class in particular, every Thursday we would meet and we would check in where our fieldwork was at. And I would really find myself sitting there thinking like, wow, Christian, you really need to step your game up. Yes, I did talk to myself in third person. But in all seriousness, hearing everyone's weekly updates, learning about their projects and the level of impact they would have with the organizations and the community they were working with really pushed me and really made me want to leave something as impactful behind. And last but most certainly not least, I would like to thank everyone at Engage the Vision, whom I had the privilege of working with. In particular, my site supervisor, our very own Dr. Sharon Elephant. From the very beginning, I knew it was going to be a good fit because she was extremely approachable and that level of humility is always nice to work with. And I have to say, it's nice to be right. As I'm sure many of you know by now, Dr. Elephant is one of the most knowledgeable, relatable, and easygoing people you will ever come across. And then there is 2 more people I would like to thank. I would like to thank Vince Allen, the founder of Engage the Vision, because he was a big part of what my overall project was, for taking that time to really meet with me. And then we have another classmate who is, I don't believe she's here today. Her name is Alexandra Barba. She was a big part of the overall project that I had going into. With that said, my project was really a multi-layered assignment, or it had a bunch of different assignments that created this overall project. It consisted of a nonprofit development research, a few write-ups, and an interview with the founder, Vince Allen himself. I have to say, initially, when I came into Engage the Vision, my idea of what I was going to be doing was more along the lines of the mentorship program, but with everything going on, that kind of started to shift, with the whole virtual component. And so when Dr. Elephant approached me with this project, it was one of those things that I had to like step back and really think about. And I was like, that's not really my level of expertise. But then thinking about, what the pandemic has really taught us about the need for having to adapt and to change and go with the punches, I jumped into it. And so, I thought to myself, what do I need to do? So I connected with Dr. Elephant. We got on the phone for about 5-10 minutes, really laid it out. And from there went going, which was really key, not only to me personally, but I think with the overall program, like I said, it's the leadership in education. It was key in leadership because this project really allowed me to collaborate with quite a few different people to I don't want to say designate, but essentially work with them and establish who was doing what. This is where my classmate Alex came into play, because the first part that we needed to do was really identify and create write-ups for the organization's programs. Because if you would go onto their website, it didn't really establish what it is all their programs were. And the goal of that had multiple purposes. One, it would help me to create the questions for the interview, which was going to be one of the last parts of the project, interviewing the founder. So it would help me to establish those questions, what types of things I would want to ask about the program. Two, it would create this one-stop shop of all the different programs. So if you were, someone new coming in to find out about it, what is Engaged Division, what do they have to offer the community, you can just look at all the different programs and amazing things that they're offering. More importantly, when we're talking about nonprofits and we're looking into how to acquire funds and grants, this is something that could benefit them. They can show the types of programs that they're offering and therefore demonstrate the need of those funds that they would, so they can either expand on those programs or for future opportunities. With that said, after having a couple conversations with my classmate, we decided that she was going to really do the write-ups, which she did an amazing job with. And that allowed me to really focus on a lot of the research. I did a lot of research into other nonprofits, which included their leadership, their programs, and their organization in general, to see what that really looked like. So again, so that I could have a better mindset of not only the types of questions to ask, those foundational questions, but even how to navigate the conversation as we went through that interview, which really benefited me a lot when I went through the interview process. The next part was now setting up the scheduling process to do the interview. And as many of you know, getting a hold of a CEO or a founder can sometimes be very difficult. He's a very busy man. He does a lot of things, but I was fortunate to get a hold of him. We did do our interview. We did it over Zoom. It was very exciting to finally get to talk to him and hear his really the deeper history of how Engaged Division came to be. And in having that interview with him, one of the greatest things that I learned from him and from the organization that I didn't know that I was going to gain from them is that level of resiliency. Because one of the things that he talked about was how initially when they were trying to, get this mentorship program off the ground and running, they were getting rejected left and right by everyone. And he talked about those struggles and how it was so difficult. And so one of the things they did is they really looked at the local elementaries, and they looked at the numbers and they targeted the school with the lowest numbers. They just walked right in there, asked for an interview with the principal so that they can, or not an interview, a meeting, so that they can establish what it is they wanted to do. Fortunately, that principal really shared the same vision and the program went off and running. And so that level of resiliency was really nice to hear, because we all have our struggles. And so it's one of those reminders that, you got to get back up and you got to get going with it, especially going through this master's program. It's definitely something else. That interview eventually led to one final write-up, which was about Vince Allen, the founder, and about Engaged Division. Again, something that they can use along with the program write-ups to demonstrate the goal and purpose of Engaged Division overall, so that they can acquire additional funds and grants going forward. Like I mentioned, the greatest outcomes for myself were those opportunities for leadership, to really step into those roles and navigate the process. And one other thing that came from this, in having that interview, as I was going through the interview, I started to think about, this is very interesting, like what Vince was telling me, and how he explained that there are quite a lot of children out there that don't have a male role model in their life, and the impact that that makes. And so that got me thinking in terms of, what are my next steps with this? And I'm not saying that anything is set in stone, but it's something to think about for myself, for my thesis going forward. And so I thought that was very, very beneficial for me as well. But yeah, that was my spiel.
Awesome, Christian. Thank you. And you guys completed like a full end product, Christian, that our organization Engage the Vision is able to use and will be published on our website, used in grant applications, and just to tell the entire story of the organization. So super value added. Thank you. And thank you for being so adaptable to that shift in the change of projects at the beginning of the semester. I know that's really what you wanted to do, but man, you, not one complaint. You dove in and handled that. All right, without further ado, with the last showcase, the last student, last but not least for tonight, we have Jasmine. Jasmine, let me find you so I can spotlight you, and I will pull up your presentation because I think I can do it at the same time.
Like that I'm not the main.
All right, the floor is yours. Just yell at me next when you're ready.
Thank you, Dr. Elephant. Hi, everybody. My name is Jasmine. I am in the last stretch of my MA program at PO in human development with the focus in educational leadership and human services. When I contacted Dr. Stone and Dr. Elephant about my ideal placement for fieldwork, I was not sure if I was overstretching my abilities. I asked to be placed in a nonprofit organization in conservation or environmental protection. I was incredibly lucky to get accepted to work with Grades of Green, located in the South Bay of Los Angeles County in El Segundo. Connecting and networking virtually has really forced us to adapt, I think, with COVID. And the team that I've worked on has never made me feel disconnected, not just because I'm virtual, but also because I'm currently in the San Mateo County Bay Area. And I feel like I'm right there with them when we meet, and they've made it easy. And I'm very appreciative. I want to start by thanking Katie Tashima for your mentorship and helping me navigate this new role, as well as James Saracini, Anjali Cohen-Top, Kathy Procopio, Malcolm Ah, Kim Sale, and Robin Murphy. Slide. So Grades of Green brings opportunity for students in local communities to participate in environmental science-based projects. There's an emphasis to encourage students to care and protect the environment, learn about the environment, but there is a big focus on becoming local leaders and learning about environmental justice through their work, learning refined skills that are going to carry on through multiple aspects of life, not just in environmental science, which I have slowly been learning is the bigger takeaway in this organization, and it's a really beautiful thing what they do. Slide. So some like numerical, the outreach in the 14 years of Grades of Green being established and also getting turned into a nonprofit. It started out in an elementary school in the South Bay, just by some local moms who had students who going to school seeking more opportunities, seeking ways to give them resources to fulfill things that they were interested with environmental science. 600,000 students in 47 states and 27 countries. And that I kind of want to come back to because, you know, you see these data like stats on gallons of water and waste and CO2, but it's those student and the outreach, the impact on the students that I think makes this organization so unique. I was really excited to attend a panel put on by one of the students who's been with them for a while now. She's a sophomore in high school, and she brought on Senator Ben Allen's deputy chief of staff and some other like heads of nonprofits to do a panel about ways to not use single use of plastic. But what I appreciated from it is it wasn't so much of do's and don'ts, which you can get from an infographic or a piece of information, but it was also, it was very driven towards, like, I have it written here, it encouraged youth to think forward, which I thought was very special. It wasn't so boxed into reading a paragraph and explaining why and the negatives of plastic. It was forward thinking. And I think that has more potential to make a difference with youth. And she really demonstrated that in her panel. So next slide. So what the project that I have been on is Launch. It's a hefty project. It's gonna be on their website. It's interactive with access for students in the range from K through 12, which is a big range. And another thing that I think makes Launch special is that there's parts of it that can be done without an educator, not necessarily a teacher, but an after school provider, volunteers, and then also things that students can do on their own and develop on their own. So that's just some information on what Launch is. Launch is a previously existing program, but it's being refined. And next slide. So, oh, that's not very, I should have changed that color. So my expectations and my role with Launch was to bring perspective. My background's in education. So I learned how to speak up, knowing that my skill set came from a different place, but was one that was necessary in this. I was helping people that aren't primarily educators. Coming from an educator, you see things a bit differently. You might see what, you might have seen it yourself too, what fails in a classroom. And then reviewing and organizing existing activities and curriculum. This has been the bulk of the last few weeks for me, but it's also given me a lot of insight into what Grades of Green does and got me thinking how things can look differently going into the phases of creating the new version of Launch, which is where we are at now. We just finished the template and content creation is on the horizon, but that's where I should note that when I was explained the potential timeline for Launch, I realized quickly that my 7 weeks would not go very far. I feel invested in Launch and with the team, and I want to see how it turns out. So I will be dropping from like an intern on paper to a volunteer, but I want to see this pan out, and I'm looking forward to it. Slide. So the biggest takeaways outside of, networking and gaining more of what I've had is watching a program get built from the ground up. I have always been involved in the behind the scenes of creating curriculum and planning what goes on in a classroom as an early childhood educator, but the scale of this project is massive since it's for K through 12 and has the varying degrees of involvement. So you have to consider so many different factors. And then also the needs of the community, because there's an environmental justice component with this organization that they want to account for in the certain communities that reach out to them for wanting to do things. And the other one, which I think ties in really nicely with how PO has these consistent pillars almost of values with our program, is the perspective of how disciplines can be intertwined. As someone with a non-science background, being in an environmental sector seemed unlikely, but it's something that I've always wanted to go into, and I wasn't sure how I'd do it. And it gave me hope. It gave me like a light, like this is possible. Grades in Green and working on Launch has a large educational component, but there's more to that, and it showed me how my skills can transfer. This includes collaborative work and just knowing what I know, applying it differently, and also getting creative. So slide. So this was, they asked me for a bio and I put me on the website, which this is my first internship, which is really exciting for me. But I wanted to share the impact that it's had on me professionally and in my career. I worked in early childhood for 5 years, and in that time I started the Human Development Program. The broadness and flexibility of the program helped me piece together slowly what's next. Hesitancy to leave early childhood education because it is also a passion. I do enjoy working with children. But at the end of summer 2020, I decided to not continue as a preschool teacher, which was very scary in the time of COVID and an impacted job market, and luckily got a job at a nonprofit in San Mateo County, and I work in housing. I'm gaining invaluable skill, but I do want to carry this into the next chapter. And as I wrote there, it's to do people work in an organization that protects and conserves immediately and in the future. And I think working with children in that aspect is so unique because children are an investment. And if we can ingrain values in them, I think our environment is in better hands. It's just going to take some more time. I want to thank Dr. Stone and Dr. Elephant for assisting me get closer to my professional goals. Switching your career is difficult. Finding a path that is a blend of ability, interest, and passion is also very difficult. But fieldwork at Pacific Oaks has given me a lot of exposure to a field that I'm hoping to support and serve as my next chapter. So getting there.
Awesome job, Jasmine. I just want to note, I mean, you all of you guys killed it. I'm really impressed with the work that you did, especially stepping out into a very unique organization, one in which that we're not quite used to working with in environmental and sustainability. And it's so cool to be able to add a partner like Grades of Green as a core partner to Pacific Oaks to give more opportunities to students. And it's such a blessing to have had you, and you did a great job of working with them and representing POC. So great work. I know George and George that are on here, I know your family's got to be so proud of you.
And thanks to them, because with fieldwork and working full-time and thesis, I think this last 7 weeks have had more days of more cups of coffee than hours of sleep. Your support system is invaluable in these times, and I am lucky. So thank you to really everybody.
Yeah, absolutely. And to all the host sites that are featured tonight and hosted these students and provided that leadership and mentorship, that is just like the most unconditional love and provides so much value to our students. So that's it for the student portion of the showcase. I wanted to just give a shout out to those that hosted students this semester that weren't necessarily represented in the showcase tonight. We had Amber Anthony Sandoval, who gave students an opportunity to learn management of nonprofits. Children Mending Hearts, which is based in Watts right now, that has an outdoor learning park. Creative Visions, Food Finders. You heard from Grades of Green, Hidden No More, that provided domestic violence for elderly couples. Interfaith Task Force, Lotus House, and Paul Freeze, who all work in the foster youth network. Paul Freeze with Foster Care Legal Project. Project Giving Kids, y'all killed it. Purpose Youth Foundation, which ended up hiring their intern that they had from Pacific Oaks this semester. Reach for Community, that does art advocacy and mental health reform. And then also, last but not least, Inspired by ELOF at the Watts Empowerment Center, who provides a lot of leadership and mentorship to all of the students and really pours a lot of love into Imperial Courts and Watts, and will be continuing. Every single one of these sites will be continuing to host students next semester, starting May 10th. For those of you that are on here that are host sites or potential host sites or nonprofits that want to be a host site, I'll share this PowerPoint presentation. We have our own customized website at the School of Human Development for host sites to request interns. You can also reach out to me directly. I've realized I don't think I introduced myself at the beginning, but I think I've just, because I know every single person on here. I'm Dr. Sharon Elephant. I'm the Fieldwork Coordinator for School of Human Development. Anything you guys need, we're always looking for more core partners. We want to grow all of the different cause areas that we serve. Please reach out to me. And we can continuously add. We have about 30 plus students that will be starting fieldwork May 10th. And I'm already starting to place those students. So Again, I can't thank everyone enough for joining us tonight, and especially our host sites. The students that were showcased tonight, y'all left me speechless. I almost like I can't get full sentences and words out of my mouth right now, and not feeling so Dr. Sharon right now because I can't get full sentences out. So I'm just so impressed with you guys. You make me really proud to be part of Pacific Oaks and working with the Fieldwork program. Really proud. So I will open it up now. Are there any questions? I will share this PowerPoint. So if there's information that you need, don't worry about it. Any questions?
Dr. Elephant, this is Dr. Grant. I don't have a question. I just have a comment on how amazing this was. And, you know, I've worked with you closely on trying to find some opportunities for students through CCSI and through some of our other partners. But just to hear these students share the tangible efforts that are literally changing the world and making organizations do what they can do best, I am just so filled tonight by listening to these stories. And you know, shout out to you and the whole HD team and Dr. Webster for her leadership for creating this structure. I am just in awe of what this was tonight. Congratulations, Human Development. This is wonderful.
Dr. Elephant, my name is Jack Padantin. I am PO President, and I am listening to every presentation today and smiling for the entire time. So I'm not going to repeat what Dr. Grant just said, but I just wanted to tell the HD student that, you know, this field work, you have made so much impact for the organization that you're working for. I have seen not only the impact that you made, and I also see professional growth within you. Imagine if the field work can make this impact. What about life after PO? How much impact you would make? That just made me so proud, and congratulations for completing this. And I am on your team, and I wanted to be here to support you. You have done a wonderful job. Continue to do a good job in your career. And this setting you such a good foundation. So thank you so much for being part of PO. Thank you so much for making all of us so proud.
Thank you. Thanks for joining tonight too. I appreciate that. Our students need all of the support we can get from anyone and everyone, community, POC staff, everyone that's joining us tonight. I see Pat Maida here. You know, we've gotten a lot of support from various departments through Pacific Oaks, and just really helping the students know what resources are at the school to just take advantage of everything. So I appreciate all the collaboration throughout the college as well, and everyone just immediately showing up when there's a need.
Our students are amazing. So proud of each and every one of you at graduation, at orientation and welcome. I make you do a little exercise, you know, the look out world, here I come thing I make you do, and you rocked it. You didn't even wait until you graduated to make your claim. You like, look out world, I am here. So very proud of you. And this lets you know that there is nothing that you cannot do. Nothing. Remember that every single one of you brought it. PO is so proud of you. Now go out there and keep doing what you have been doing and make your mark. And remember, this is your destiny. Remember what we talked about. Love y'all a whole lot. Thanks.
Thank you, Pat. I'm not sure if Ruth is on here tonight, but if she is, I want to give a shout out to Ruth Wang, who's also a key critical component to Fieldwork, providing additional support to students through writing, academic writing, and professionalism and that kind of stuff. So I can't tell if she's on the list or not, but maybe Pat, if you could also give her the message too.
I will make sure she gets this kudos. Thank you so much for the recognition.
Any other questions? It's an open floor. If you're ready to go off and have an evening, you absolutely can. I really am so thankful for everyone showing up tonight. What a turnout. And let's get going for May 10th, the next round. Here we go. I put my email address in the chat. I will be sharing the PowerPoint that was up tonight, so that way you guys have access to everything that you need. So anyone who has questions they want to address offline, just shoot me an email. I will be sharing all the other information from the PowerPoint. We'll send that out by email.
Thank you again, Dr. Elephant, and all of the students. I don't become speechless very easily or very often, but I am just blown away, and I just appreciate this so very much. Thank you, and thank you everybody for attending.
Have a great night, everybody. Thanks so much.
Way to go, HD.